Welcome to my podcast, The Entrepreneur's Journey. Today I have our guest, Mohsin Raza, who's a realtor. He's somewhat of a new entrepreneur. He has been doing it for a bit now, but still kind of early in his journey. Hey, Mohsin, how's it going?
Hey Hussein, how's it going, man? Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, of course, of course. What's going on? How's your what's going on with your day? How's your
Yeah,
week
it's
so
good,
far?
man. It's good. Just adapting to a new market. Obviously, everyone's heard with the new market shift. So everyone's,
Mm.
everyone that's working real estate just kind of adapting to new market, working on new strategies and whatnot. But how's stuff with you? I'm happy to hear now you have a new podcast and everything. So I've been following
Yeah.
your content as well for quite a bit. Pretty
Oh, yeah.
creative. So how's that going for you?
Yeah, it's going good. Thanks a lot. I mean, just trying to keep consistent, find some time to do it.
Yeah,
It's always glad to add value to people and try to share some of the knowledge.
yeah,
As so that's, just going through that. It's also fun to get into the video, the video world and
yeah,
the
yeah.
editing, a little bit of editing and all these new apps and technology. I really like technology as well.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
So it
fun.
kind of plays in well.
I remember when I was in like high school, we had to take like a course where we would do with like Photoshop and whatnot, and I absolutely hated it at that time. And now
Yeah.
just recently, I had a bit more time to spare, like, on the weekends, so I'm starting to edit my own videos. And
Okay.
literally, when I'm in the process of editing, I have no idea where I am. My wife would be like, "Oh, dinner's ready. Oh, we have to do this," and I have no idea what's going on in the background. So it's
Yeah.
fun, man. It's a fun process, and you can get carried away with it too, you know?
Yeah. I know. All this technology, you don't know where your wife is, your children are. You're just
Yeah, man.
busy playing with the new toys. And there's a new toy every month,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly.
there's this unlimited amount of, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what's going on how's your journey been, with real estate or just getting into the entrepreneurship world?
Yeah, for sure.
Um, how you kind of perhaps got into it a little bit and, anything you want to share about that?
Yeah, so I mean, about like 5 or 6 years ago, me and my dad were just sitting down one day, and then we were thinking of like passive incomes and what we need to do for the future and whatnot. So we're like, oh, why don't we start investing in real estate? And I'm like, hey, yeah, that's a good idea. We can get into flipping houses, looking to rent properties, whatnot. And then shortly after that, I left internationally to go study. And then, when I came back, the idea just clicked to me. I'm like, do I really want to be doing like a 9 to 5? Do I want to sit behind a desk and just hate my job? Or, do what I like? Because I have a bit of experience in retail and sales before. So I really enjoy doing that work. And then, I talked to a few of the people that I know that have been in the game for a while, like Essen Raza was, for example, one of them. One of my friends, Imran Jaxi. I had a chat with him before doing my license, and how's real estate? What's your guys' experience? And I literally after a few talks with them, it just clicked to me. I'm like, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Mm.
And yeah, like honestly, during when I was doing my license as well in real estate, during one of the courses, because everything was online at that time, was COVID. So one of
Yeah.
my classmates, she was actually an interior designer for a developer. And so we were having a
Mm.
chat, and she said, she's using real estate to get into development because it's a long-term
Right.
plan. And so when she gave me all the details about, getting into developing myself, I'm like, hey, that seems like it's a nice idea. It makes you a ton of money and, networking, connections and whatnot. So,
Mm.
just right now, before you even get into development, you have to start making connections. And so becoming a licensed real estate agent is a good way to network. And so you got to start off somewhere. And
Yeah.
yeah, man, the rest was just history. Just got into real estate from there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes a lot of sense. Like if you want to do something more in depth in real estate, then why not start with the real estate license, get into it, learn the ropes, even, sell a few houses, do the leasing and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
That way, you kind of, it's easier to expand once you're in the industry
Yeah.
versus, you doing, let's say, a job or something else. And then from there, trying to do investments or
Yeah,
something
man.
like that.
And
It
you
kind
just
of
find it
feeds
so
into
much
it.
more rewarding. You're like, you have your own business as well. It's more rewarding when
Yeah.
you're your own boss and what hours you need to work. And, obviously it's good to work in a team as well, but also independently when you are able to dictate how you need to do things because you know yourself better than anyone else. And so it
Hmm.
makes like the job so much more easier to do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And now with the there's another opportunity with the PREC availability for real estate agents. It's pretty much more of a business, right? Like even legally, they've kind of recognized that, okay, this is more like a business, so let's allow for a corporation. So it's almost like a professional corporation, which is also pretty cool.
Yeah, of course, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So what would you say is, with your experience and everything so far, what would you say is the main one thing, if you had to say, is what you enjoy the most about the business? Like, what would you say
Oh
would be that?
man, so I didn't prepare enough for this, man. The one thing I enjoy,
It's like interview question.
interview questions, man. I'm getting hired for.
Putting you on the spot,
I'm getting.
you start sweating.
Yeah, it's like I'm getting hired for another real estate brokerage,
Yeah,
man. Um,
exactly.
yeah, man. As like, cliche as it might sound, honestly, it's just getting in contact with so many people in the networking.
Mm,
Because as I like to describe, like as a real estate agent, you're basically like the middleman for so many people, right? When you have a client,
yeah.
you gotta be resourceful and you gotta be the resource to connect them with so many other professionals. And it's rewarding
Yeah.
doing that as well. And so I guess if the main thing that I like about this career is, being a source for networking and also networking with other people as well and getting in contact
Mm,
with how many other people you can.
nice.
Yeah.
That's a A plus plus answer
A plus
for
answer, man. I
any
think I passed the
brokerage out there looking for
test.
a young, ambitious
There we go, man. There
realtor.
we go. There we go.
You'll never have an issue. They'll be reaching out and
Yeah, man.
jumping
And it's
over
like
hoops
real
to
estate
get
is
you on.
like people always forget when they become a realtor. It's like you're not dealing with just selling someone a normal product, right? You're selling them that might be their lifelong dream, right? Or
Hmm.
something that they saved up for the past 10, 20 years in their life. And so you're helping someone with that transaction, right? And
Yeah.
although there is a lot of, risk involved with that as well, where, okay, I don't want to mess up if I know this is someone's like, life earning and they're spending it all on this transaction with me. But it also gives
Yeah.
you that pleasure after you're done because you help someone with the biggest transaction in your life, right? So
Yeah.
it's always rewarding in that sense.
That's true. I think this is part of the reason why, clients as well kind of reach out to someone they trust, someone they know, and someone, or ideally they've gotten a referral from, because it's a huge step. I mean, a lot of people say it's the biggest purchase someone will make in their life,
Yeah,
right?
man.
And
Yeah.
and then you have the
Yeah, the
responsibility in a way
responsibility for
to,
that. Yeah.
yeah. So
100%.
that's the, yeah. Um, how's the, so, every business really has marketing, and they try to do that. So I see you're creating content. Okay, let's talk a little bit about, what your strategy is, or what you're kind of, looking into, how you're approaching things, and what platforms you're on.
Yeah, man. Like content creation is amazing. As you know, it's everything has just become so digitalized in the age that we're living in right now. Everyone in every single generation, whether you're in your teens, whether in your 50s, 60s, everyone's on social media, right? Whether you have Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and so you have such a big audience to reach out to, and it's the most perfect way to market yourself, right? And so
Hmm.
content creation for me in itself is just fun for me, right? I don't consider it to be a burden. Obviously, there are
Yeah.
some days where it's like, oh, I don't feel like really doing shooting a video today, but you just got to get into that energy and make that content and be consistent with it, right? That's the number one
Yeah.
thing. I'm guilty of this myself. I haven't in the first few months when I was trying to bring out content, I wasn't as consistent with it. But
Mm,
obviously, knowing that it's an amazing way to market yourself and so many people reach out to you, it
mm,
just gives you that motivation to be more consistent with it. Like for me personally, like I'm more active on Instagram. I have been trying to do TikTok, but it's more of like the younger generation that knows everything about TikTok. I'm not super old
yeah.
myself, but yet again, like it's all the younger generation that knows how to navigate and all the algorithms, figuring that
Yeah.
stuff out. But
They'll be your clients 10 years later,
yeah, yeah, hopefully.
or they'll reach out to you anyway.
Yeah, they'll probably reach
Yeah.
out to me. Yeah, I don't know where real estate would be in the 10 years, man. Everything will
Yeah. Yeah.
probably like digitalized like AI real estate. But I don't know, man. But yeah, man, like it's really nice, right? Because even if I put out content right now, I'm not expecting a sale from that content, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Because I have a lot of people that I know from middle school and high school, and now they're obviously at that stage where they're looking to get into the real estate market either now or either in the next few years, and that's who kind of my like audience is. And so it's a perfect way. I know every time I put out content, I have a lot of people that I haven't spoken to in so many years, but I have them on Instagram.
Mm,
And so it'll be like, oh, this is educational information, or, this was funny. This was a funny post. So,
yeah.
you just start catching up with them and start building the connection from there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an amazing way of actually staying in touch with people
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Because you have such a wide reach that you can kind of, in a way, you're constantly updating the people that you know, even your friends, your relatives,
Yeah.
and people you've met. Maybe you've just met them once,
Yeah.
and you would have never spoken to them again for maybe next 5 years because you just
Yeah.
not in the same area or something. But because you have that platform and because they're kind of like in touch with you through that, you can actually stay in touch.
Yeah,
And
for
then they
sure.
might
Yeah,
message you,
of
right?
course, man. And yet again, like it's not to convert them into a client right away, right? It's more so that you
Yeah,
get recognized for who you are in your profession, right? And you want to make sure you
yeah,
reach out to a larger audience to to make sure they know who you are yourself, right?
yeah, yeah. So I guess like what's going on? Well, what are your thoughts on the market? Because I know, yeah, there's generally the same thing happening with the interest rates, and there's a general consensus out there. But there's still some unique opinions, or everybody has their own kind of touch to it. So what are
Yeah,
your thoughts? Like, what would you say is going on, and what
yeah.
we might expect in the next bit?
Yeah, so I mean, right now, like the market is pretty confusing for a lot of people. A lot of people are still trying to analyze, and so you have a lot of buyers and sellers and investors. Not too many investors, but more buyers, sellers that are kind of on the sideline and waiting for things to be a bit more clear for them. Like obviously, back in 2021, everything was clear, right? We're in a complete seller's market, and everything was just hectic around that time. And now, because of, I feel like in any business or in any market, when you're going to a transition, you'll always have that time frame where people are just analyzing, and so
Mm,
activity will be at a minimal, right?
yeah.
So right now, like what we're seeing, and Essen mentioned this too when I had the chat with him on my podcast. It's we're still trying to figure out what market we are, because there's like there's a lot of buyers out there,
Mm,
but yet again, there's not enough supply as well. So we
right.
don't know if we're hitting like a buyer's market or if we're in a balanced market, right?
Mm,
Obviously, a lot of people are leaning, we're leaning towards the idea that we're getting into a balanced market right now as well, right? Like
yeah.
I mentioned this before too. Like Canada is expected to build 1.5 million homes by the year 2031, right? And if you
Mm,
look at the rate of
wow.
how development is going right now, it's looking really difficult or even near impossible to even build houses, that many houses till 2031. So even though
Mm,
prices are going down, and there's a lot of negotiations on the table as well, we're still
yeah.
facing a supply crisis in Ontario, and especially with the immigration rates right now, that's a huge issue, right? Because a lot more than half of the people that are moving to Canada are coming to Ontario, but specifically to Toronto and the GTA, right?
Mm,
So there's a few issues that need to be resolved, but at the same time, there's ideas that we are in a balanced market right now.
yeah. Yeah. What do you, this is a little bit different. What do you think about technology and real estate? You know?
Technology, I know a lot of friends that have been getting into that. I haven't personally, done a lot of research in that, but I know there's forgetting the word for it, but like a virtual reality where people are buying real estate in a virtual reality as well.
Mm,
I looked into.
Decentraland.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know if
I
you
heard
heard
a
of
lot about that, man.
Decentraland.
That's because I'm a bit of an old school guy. I know, like I'm in touch with my social media stuff, but I'm really old
Look,
school with
you
it.
don't seem like an old school guy. Right here. You're the coolest guy I know.
No, man, I'm like an uncle in a 20-year-old's body, man. Honestly, bro. Even like when I do my comparables right now, like for clients, I still do them on like a piece of paper, bro.
Oh, nice. No, that's
I
yeah,
still
that's
print I
organic.
still print out my listings whenever I have to go for showings, man. That's
Yeah.
pretty
No,
awesome.
nothing beats a piece of paper. It's
Yeah,
so
man.
easy to refer to.
Honestly, yeah, no, but with in
But
terms
yeah.
of technology, like I know a lot of people are more invested into that. I know a lot of there's a lot of companies that are trying to get virtual showings done as well, and real estate, which can be really helpful, but also it
Hmm.
has its cons as well, right? Because
What does that mean, virtual showings?
so basically, you're in like a virtual assisted like reality type of thing, and the
Uh-huh.
listing will be on that virtual platform. And so when you're wearing those binoculars or whatever it is, you're
Yeah.
actually viewing the property from your perspective as if you're in that property, but you're, it's all virtual,
Oh,
right?
wow. Okay.
So I heard of that as well before.
Hmm.
And it's good. It's definitely convenient for a lot of people,
Yeah.
because a lot of people now that they're working hybrid as well, it's very difficult for them to make time before 5 or 6 p.m. to go for showings. And so it will be a wonderful platform to incorporate that type of technology into real estate. But
Hmm.
also, from my perspective, it's like, if I want to get to know how a house is and its features and its specifications
Yeah.
and what stands out, I need to go see there, and things need to be tangible for me, right? And
Hmm.
that's just me. There might be other people also out there that think of that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's
Yeah.
one of the things that's coming up. I don't know if that was
Y-
relevant to your question when
Yeah,
you
yeah, no, it
all
was.
this.
I was. It was a broad question because I wanted to see, what aspects of tech and real estate we could touch on. But yeah, that's actually very interesting. I never heard of that. But like it sounds, yeah, virtual reality, technology, everything's so amazing. But you're actually going to be living in the house. You can't, you can't wear the virtual reality goggles and in your bedroom and live in that house, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like you're going to be interacting with the space, like so. I think it makes a lot of sense to actually some things you have to kind of do it
yeah.
in person. Makes a lot of sense. I think especially for families, I would think the if there's husband, wife, and children, I would think they would really want to go and check out a place
Go see it in
properly
person, man,
to
and that's what you'll see right now, right? Because if that was the case where people just wanted to be convenient and all virtual, then they would just call up the realtor and be like, "Hey, can you FaceTime me while you're at the house and then just show me around?" No one really does that, right? There might be some cases
yeah.
when they're maybe doing a final walkthrough, or they're doing the second or third showing, whatever it is. But people actually want to go out there and see the house physically, right? That makes a huge difference.
Mm,
Because yet again, as we talked about, it's one of the biggest investments. So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. One of the things I talked earlier with another guest in real estate as well was what are the like what is your sense of um, what that's happening out there, like what are people feeling, how
yeah,
are they thinking, how are they what are their thoughts on the real estate right
yeah,
now,
yeah.
from your clients and people you're in touch with, what are you feeling, like what are the
Yeah.
people feeling out there?
So there's a lot of people that are, for an example, getting pre-approved for a mortgage as well, especially for different routes of like financing, like a home equity line of credit if they want to refinance their house. That's always an option for them that they're qualified for. But yet again, it's the interest rates that, are getting to people. But if you put things into like retrospect and see and rule out the numbers from like 2021 and today's market, you're definitely saving so much more money, especially on that down payment, right? And it's because of how much how negotiable house purchase prices are nowadays, and how purchase prices decreasing as well, right? So if you
Mm,
compare it from the market before, obviously people are overspending, but even with the interest rates right now, if you factor that into the grand total of looking at that from a financial perspective, you're saving so much more money, right? Because
mm,
of house prices going down. So people are hesitant, man. People are a bit fearful right now. Yet again, they're on the sidelines. But yet
yeah,
again, like even in like 2020, because I started like real estate during the rise of the market, right? When
yeah,
the market was when it was a seller's market, and even
mm-hmm,
then, it still took people a few months to kind of get used to it, but eventually they dived into the market, right? You realize that this is the norm now, and we need to adapt to it if we're looking to get into the market. And yet again,
yeah,
as I said before, every market shift is going to have its transitional period where you're going to
mm,
have the potential buyers and sellers and investors kind of analyzing to see what it is. But like because of that hesitancy, it's always important to talk to a professional, right?
mm,
Don't I know when it comes to real estate, everyone is an expert all of a sudden.
yeah,
When you
yeah,
go to like family, like, and those are the times when I'm the most quiet, right? I just like to like analyze and see what's going on. Like everyone's like sipping a cup of chai, and
yeah,
how's the real estate market going, right? Like, oh, this, that, and everyone just suddenly becomes
yeah,
an expert.
yeah,
So I'm not talking about, don't talk to those experts, right?
yeah,
Go
yeah.
to the people that are, mortgage
Yeah, I'm one
advisors.
of those who's always where I have no reason to be talking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, like you deal with it, right? You deal with a lot of people, especially within your field. quite a bit more than what the layman would know. But obviously, go talk to a professional, talk to an advisor, and get their intake on what they think you should do in terms of your real
Yeah.
estate needs.
Mm. I mean, where I touch real estate is more, I mean, it's just kind of just like those people, I kind of just love to follow it. But along with that, I mean, it touches in my field as well, in the sense of planning, like RSP, first time home buyer.
Yeah.
And now there's a first home savings account, which comes with its own set of,
What is that?
hundreds
I
of
heard of that,
different
but do you
rules.
want to if you can tell me more about that?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually released a little clip on it on YouTube Shorts recently, but it's really cool because it gives you the advantage of deducting on your income just like an RSP,
Right.
and any growth in it won't be taxable like a
Okay.
TFSA.
Nice.
Yeah, so it gives you like best of both worlds. There's a limit of about 8,000. I think it's 8,000 on an annual basis, but it accumulates over time.
Over
And
time.
the other thing you could do is you could even move your RRSP funds to the first home savings account
Yeah.
and then kind of take it out. The other big advantage of it is when you take it out, you don't have to pay it back like an RRSP, which is a pretty big thing, right?
So it's kind of like a grant.
In a way, yeah, because like you're getting the deduction on your personal tax return,
Yeah.
but you're not having to
Yeah.
pay back for it. So that's like everybody who withdrew, they had increased the limit to $35,000 from what I remember each person. And so, a husband and wife, they're taking out $70,000 if they do like maximum amount, if they're able to do that. Now you got to pay that 70,000 back into your RSP. I mean, it's going back to your own funds.
Yeah.
But you have to pay that back in the next 15 years. So now with this first home savings account, although it's just started, you might not have that much room. In 2 years you'll have 16,000. But even that portion, if you're able to move it, then you can kind of do that. Yeah, it's kind of technical.
But there's a lot of growth in it too, right? Like it'll eventually expand over time, as you were saying. So
yeah, every year that amount gets accumulated. So the 8,000, and the next year you have 8,000. Just like a TFSA, there's $6,000
right
on an annual, and then it adds up. Like for example, if you haven't contributed anything to TFSA so far, you actually have $88,000 room that you can contribute to.
Oh, wow.
Right? So it's pretty cool. So like if you can get a 10% return, it's not easy to get a 10% return, but if you are able to, and you put it through a TFSA, $8,800 that you're getting is going to be completely tax free. Yeah, which is pretty big thing because
that's amazing, bro.
Yeah, imagine on an annual basis you get about 10 grand on a tax free basis because especially if you're in a higher bracket, 40-50% bracket. On 10,000, you're basically paying $40,000 in taxes.
Exactly.
So these things add up.
No, these are really good incentives, right? Like this is exactly what I tell like buyers and people that are getting to the market. Make sure you're talking to people like yourself, right? So that they know what other options are there. For example, to come up with their down payment, right? There's a lot of like financial options that they can play into and take advantage of that as well. So again, like. Guys, you see an example of like this yourself. There's so many ways to build that up. So definitely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, no one person can do everything, right? So we all kind of have to work together.
Exactly.
You're as a realtor, you play a certain part, and then I would play a certain part. A lawyer would play a certain part.
Yeah.
So it's like all these things. So you really need to get in touch with a trusted realtor like Mohsin who knows his gig, and he's also fun to talk to.
Yeah,
like this conversation here to get your transaction going.
For sure.
Yeah, man. What would you say? What's your best experience? Last couple of years doing this. What would you say? Like one experience that kind of really stands out.
Last couple of years, man. One of my investor clients. Man, he knows his numbers, bro. Like, I helped him with a few of his rental properties that he has before. But he's very specific with his numbers, and like just working alongside with him as a client, like it's super educating. Like the way to calculate, your cap rate, what a good ROI is, what
Mm.
to dictate, how to dictate, this will be a good rental income for me and whatnot. So just working alongside that one investor client has just been sort of rewarding. Like obviously we haven't closed on anything significant, sorry, but at the same time,
Mm.
I'm learning so much from my own client, right? Just because he's been investing before I was even in the real estate industry.
Yeah.
And so just working alongside with people who I'm able to get like knowledge from, that's been
Nice.
super rewarding. Like the my
Are you able to share some strategy or anything kind of like a framework to kind of look at?
Yeah, like this the type of areas that he would be looking in, like in the type of cities that he would tell me that have potential, right? And what to like, obviously he says multiplexes, duplexes are one of those investment property that can bring a ton of rental income towards you. Student housing as well, which he does a lot of, in places like Waterloo, Kitchener, and I've definitely seen the
Mm.
returns, the product of his hard work and investments as well in there. So the different type of investment properties you can get into. He doesn't do a lot of
Yeah.
flipping,
Okay.
which I wanna kind of get in touch with a client who does a lot of flipping because I would be interested in doing that personally. So, guys,
Yeah.
anyone who is out there to looking to flip a house, let me know. I'm not looking for that commission. I actually just want to sit with you and then just learn something, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, you have a podcast now, right? So
yeah.
you can bring him on and you can chat with him
Yeah,
too.
definitely have a chat with him. But yeah, man, just a big numbers game, getting familiar with that side. As I told you even before this, like I'm still learning investment. How to deal with investor clients and investment properties, what things to look
Yeah.
for, how to run your numbers, and what to look for in the pro forma or financials that you receive from the other end as well. So just
Yeah.
studying that and try to increase my knowledge in that field as well, because right now like is the time that where all the investors are out, right? Like as a common phrase goes, buy low, sell high. So right now,
Mm.
all those investors are buying low because they have that capital to invest in, and
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah. Biggest thing with in this market is cash flow, right? So what are some of the strategies that people are applying or you'd recommend to kind of make sure the cash flow aspect is there
Yeah,
when you're purchasing investment at this point?
yeah. Like one of the biggest advantage people can take of this market is obviously the rental market has been booming, right? Like the average price for a three-bedroom condo in Toronto is hitting near 4,000, right? $4,000. And that's insane, right? So definitely with that rental income that you're getting, right? Obviously, if you were on a fixed rate before, right, and you don't have to worry about your mortgage payments and whatnot, or for those investors who the mortgage rates don't really affect them as much just because how long they've been in the investing game for. Right now is like an amazing opportunity to take advantage of the rental income, right? Number one,
Mm.
you're paying a lower price for that property. And then number two, just because of how insane rental prices have gone, not in like GTA Toronto, but I was doing showings for a client yesterday in Cambridge, and I
Mm.
was seeing detached homes renting for about 3,800, right,
Oh,
in a
wow.
place like Cambridge.
Wow.
So a lot of
Yeah.
investors are taking advantage of the areas going outside of GTA as well, right? And I mean that
Yeah.
just takes a whole podcast on its own, like which areas are good to invest in. But
Yeah.
people really need to people need to see like the potential upcoming areas outside of GTA also have. So yeah, in
Mm.
terms of like answering that question, number one is the rental income. Also, number two, a lot of people, just because of how downwards the market have gone, they're taking this advantage to flip the house. And
Mm.
then when they're flipping the house, they'll have rent it out to a tenant for a bit. And then when the market hits back again, they're just going to sell that property for twice the amount, right? Number one, because
Mm.
of all the renovations they've done in it. And then number two, because of how, what the market will dictate the price will be.
What do you mean by flip the house? I mean, I would think flip the house means sell at this point. Are you saying,
No, flipping the house as in, so basically you buy a property that needs renovations,
okay,
and to what extent you want to do the renovations to. Some people just completely demolish the house, demo the house, and then build on top of
yeah,
that. But other people with flipping, what they do is that if there's a property that needs renovations, need upgrades, then they're going to take out the time to, contact a lot of contractors and renovate that house and then
mm.
sell it for a higher price because of all those upgrades and renovations that you've done.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Wow, so the flipping strategies are still alive at this point.
Yeah,
So
man.
people
Like,
are buying,
yeah,
yeah,
like a lot of places, like you'll go to, like, because my office is in Scarborough. So
Yeah.
around that area, there's a lot of like bungalows that are
Okay.
maybe like 25, 30 years plus, right? And
Yeah.
you'll probably see it too, right? You'll see like five
Yeah, I've seen
bungalows, and then
those.
all of a sudden you'll see like a modern detached house, right? It's not too big width wise, just because of how Toronto is like super saturated, but length
Yeah.
wise, it's pretty tall, and they completely demold the bungalow that was existing there before and build a newer property on top of it, right? So you see
Mm.
that trend a lot going on in places in Toronto which have older properties.
Yeah. Wow, that's really cool to know, because I think you're right. I mean, the residential or like families and people who are buying for the first time are probably slowing down. But investors, if they have capital right now and you're getting properties for 20%, 30% discounted
Yeah,
prices,
yeah, yeah.
and if you can do that, then why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and they can do that because if they've been investing for quite a while, then they don't have to worry about taking out the capital from their own personal, income or whatever they're
Mm,
making themselves. But they're
yeah.
just using the income that they're generating from their own investing business and reinvesting that, right?
Mm,
So it's all about like these guys are just focused on generational wealth, right? Which is
yeah.
amazing, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. We got to get on that.
Yeah, man. It's like you can probably elaborate on this more, right? Like people have this idea that putting all your money into a savings account is just gonna it's good, like it's a good idea, definitely
Yeah,
do that, save your money, but reinvesting the money that you make is even
yeah.
a more phenomenal idea, right? Build
So,
wealth.
yeah, money in savings account is a depreciating asset.
Yeah, yeah,
It's just, especially with inflation now, 100 grand today, next year it'll only be worth 90 grand. So if it's just sitting there,
yeah, yeah.
it's not a good
Even now, like
situation.
100, so like it's kind of surprising too, right? Like 100 grand is nothing nowadays, right? Someone makes 100
Yeah,
grand, it's like, oh, okay, cool, right?
yeah,
It's like, yeah. So let's see where
yeah.
we
The
go
buying
next year.
power has gone down. Yeah. What about short term rentals? Airbnb. I don't know if there's any other strategy besides Airbnb for short-term rentals.
Yeah, man. Like my one of my side businesses that I started, one of my side hustles is property management.
Okay,
So I have
nice.
yeah, like I have a few clients that I'm working on that for. They invest into a property and now they're out of the country and they're living there
Mm,
for the next few years, and so they rented it out to people. We did the Airbnb route as well, which was good. It was providing really good income as well, but yet again, um, they were kind of going into a negative cash flow because of the Airbnb. Because sometimes with Airbnb, you don't have like someone consecutively renting it out, right? You kind of need to
yeah.
wait for people to, reach out to you. And it's important for you to be at a very good location as well, right? Somewhere where it's
Mm,
like a maybe like a tourist attraction or fun things to do, ski resort, stuff like that, buying a house around there, right? So with Airbnb, like honestly, sometimes it's a hit or miss, right? With a lot of
okay.
properties. But
Yeah.
with this specific client, in terms of managing their property, they decided to go into the long term of it as well. But
Mm,
apart from Airbnb, there's another app called Verbo.
okay.
I've used that as well for the property management stuff. Airbnb, I just feel like it's more secured. It's
Mm,
better. The insurance policies are just more have
really,
more
eh?
to give to the owner.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is there, Airbnb is generally, I feel like it's very short term, 2 days, 5 days.
yeah,
We might get a couple of weeks.
yeah.
But is there a strategy, or is this something where what people do where, they might rent out for 3 months or 4 months?
Yeah.
And how would you,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I've seen that, right? Like today I got a call from someone. They're like, "Oh, we're looking to release this property out, but only for 6 months," right? And now
Mm,
with you, when you work as a real estate agent and you have the other listing agent, the landlord doesn't really want someone for 6 months, right? It depends,
yeah.
right? It really depends on the landlord themselves. Some landlords might want it short term because they might be out of the city or whatnot, and then later on in a few months they want to move into the property themselves, or they want to sell the property as well. So it's really dependent case to case. But in a lot of the situations where I've seen, a lot of landlords just want stability and security. And so they want someone to lease it out for minimum a year. So be obviously on a lease agreement.
Mm.
and go for the long term. But yet again, there are options where, some landlords are flexible with you. And so you can have a month to month rental as well with them where, you're not on a lease agreement, rather you're just paying them month to month, and then you can leave your tenancy at any time.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, so many different plays out there and variety that you can
Yeah.
kind of dabble into, right? So,
Yeah, man.
yeah, Mohsin, thanks for sharing all those insights. We're kind of close to our time,
Of course, man.
and
Yeah,
yeah.
sure.
Any closing thoughts?
No, man, just thank you so much for having me on the show. I consider myself a little baby in the business still, right? So I have so much more room for growth, education, knowledge, and experience myself. And yeah, man, just let's see where it goes. So hopefully,
Yeah,
whatever I shared is just through
yeah.
personal experience. It's not, written on stone where this is how it has to be. So take it with a grain of
Yeah,
salt.
yeah, yeah. It's all, it's all sharing thoughts, ideas. We're
Yeah,
all kind
man.
of learning. We're all kind of going through that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, appreciate your simplicity. You're a humble man. You definitely know and experience a lot more than you put out there. But
No, man, for
but
sure.
yeah,
It's like just be in touch. Like, if I can, sorry, if what one thing I can on the closing thought, it's
yeah, yeah.
honestly, and it's not to sound cliche, honestly, humble yourself, man. Because,
Mm,
the devil gets to you as well when you start off in your business and you think you're making good money, bro.
mm,
There's 100 more people that are making 10 times of what you think is good money, right? So
yeah.
make sure that whenever you start off a business, surround yourself with people that are doing 10 times better than you and learn from them.
Mm,
Like,
right.
shut your mouth and learn, right? So
Yeah,
that's the ideology you got to have. But also at the
yeah.
same time, take risks yourself as well, and just stay educated all the time, bro. That's super
Yeah,
important.
yeah, those are really important tips. And I think it never really ends, right? Like you kind of start off, and of course it's even more important when you're starting off, because you're kind of like, not that you're just starting off, but anyone who's kind of thinking of the entrepreneur route, or who's going through that, it's always good to have mentors and people you're kind of
Of course,
working with
man. Yeah,
who
mentorship
are
is key, bro. Mentorship is
right,
key.
five,
Yeah,
10 steps ahead of you, because this not no matter how much AI comes up, no matter how much Google there is, you'll never be able to Google or chat GPT those answers.
honestly, bro. Like, and I know, sorry, we're running over our time, but like my
Yeah,
broker of record, also I consider one of my good brothers, Farman. He used to be in the military back home, and he's been in the real estate industry for about 10 years as well. And
yeah.
so his training, it's not like super hardcore where it's like, oh, come to the office, do 10 push-ups, and get to work. But literally, it's like straight to the point, and it's on-field training, right? So a few days after I switched my brokerages to Farman's brokerage, he literally
Hmm.
called me like in the morning, and he's like, "Oh, get ready in 20 minutes. I'm coming, and we're gonna go to developer's office, and you're gonna get your sales training." And I'm just
Wow.
like, and this was like maybe 2 months into me getting licensed, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I enjoy it, man, because this is you need
yeah,
on-field training. Because as you know, half the stuff that you learn in certifications or courses, less than half of
yeah.
that really applies on the job. So yeah, man, just
Oh
wanted to
yeah,
share that.
yeah. You definitely need that. No, again, thanks so much for coming on,
For
Mohsin. We'll
sure,
do it
man. Thank you
again.
so much for having me, bro. It's
It's
amazing, and
it's
I'm looking forward to having you on my show. And
I appreciate. Yeah, for sure. We'll do it.
yeah, man.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
All right.
take
Take
care,
care.
man.
See ya.